So we are back in the shed. I believe now I've got everything I need to rebuild the Landau, but we're not going to do that just yet because I don't want to leave a project half done, which brings us to this XA. So we've got to finish by rebuilding the carb, and I've also got a few suspension components and new bushes and stuff like that to whack underneath it. So we'll get all that done before we finish off the Landau, and hopefully we'll have that running shortly. But let's crack on with this. This is my father's XA Falcon Fairmont coupe, powered by a Ford 250 inline 6, which he bought back in the day for peanuts, and now one of my younger brothers has taken a fancy to it, wanting to take it out and cruise with his missus. However, as mentioned, there's still a few little things we need to do to it. After cleaning the carb a few times, the needle and seat has still decided it wants to remain as one unit and not let fuel into the carby's bowl. On top of that, now that the carby has been opened and closed so many times to be cleaned, the bowl now leaks fuel. And just to add some icing to this brown cake, whilst bleeding the brakes, I noticed quite a few worn steering components and suspension bushes, all of which will need to be replaced. This has got to be one of the simplest looking carbs I've ever seen on a car. It's a single barrel, and that's about all there is to it. There is nothing else going on, which is great news because when we rebuild it, that hopefully means less can go wrong. We got our rebuild kit here. This carb is the factory carb. I believe it's a Stromberg. I'm not too sure what series, but we've got all the rebuild kit we need for it. We're just gonna replace pretty much everything we can. The main issue we're having is the gasket that leads to the float, and also the needle in the seat's not sealing properly. Or rather, it's sealing too well, so it's not letting fuel into the float. But other than that, the carb's all doing pretty much everything it needs to be. But while we're in there replacing everything, we might as well replace the whole thing or rebuild the whole thing. So let's crack on with that then. We'll get it sorted. The carby rebuild was pretty painless, but I'm still glad that I practiced rebuilding a carburetor on that old buggy of ours just to take that edge of anxiety off. But now with the carby rebuilt, we can slap her back onto the car and see if this old XA will start and run as good as it once did before I meddled with it. All right, carby is back on. It is looking all good and healthy. Everything's clear. Let's check water and oil just in case. Always good to double check. That's fine. You are dripping everywhere, and you are full. All right. So this will take a minute to start. We're going to fill up the bowl again. Okay. like I need to adjust the choke cable, but other than that, it is working and it's not leaking. Oh, but now the fuel pump's leaking. Very strange. I've never seen that before. I think we've stuffed the fuel pump. I think we've stuffed the fuel pump. God damn it. Right, so down in here is the fuel pump, right? And as you can see, it was squirting out fuel from a little vent hole at the bottom. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't know what that vent hole was for, so I've done a bit of research. It turns out that's just to relieve pressure. It's meant to be open like that. It's not missing a screw or anything like that. What it means though, when it's squirting out fuel like that, is the diaphragm's stuffed, which basically means we need a new fuel pump. I suspect what has happened is either it's just gotten old, which I don't think is the case because it's a pretty new fuel pump. What's more likely to happen is because we've been having so many issues with the needle and seat, it's been trying to pump fuel up in there without any fuel flow, like there's been nothing passing through it. So it's just been trying to build up further and further pressure, and it's pushed it too hard, and now it's stuffed. So that sucks. Given how much fuel it's squirting out, I don't think it's worth driving it to put it on the hoist to do the suspension components. And these things aren't nice to push. They don't roll very well. So that sucks. Ah, bugger. Bugger, bugger, bugger. There's always something, eh? Always something. You know, I love, hang on, let me get a seat. You know, right, I love old cars like this, right? They're just, everything you want to work on, anything you want to fix, you can see and you can just fix. It's great. And they've got so much character and soul, and there's so much interaction on the road, mostly because they drive like absolute shit, but it gives it some character, it gives it something fun to do with. The only drawback is always there's something always wrong every single time, which sucks. Really, really sucks. But yeah, but I suppose it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Well, it's supposed to be. But that's all right. So I think that's the right thing to do. What we'll do is we'll leave it and we'll start working the Landau, because hopefully now we've got all the bits we need for it. I'm super looking forward to getting that thing going. But for now, that can rest. So the Landau, she's in a bit of a state since we last left her. Not much has changed though, we've just been waiting on parts, and we've got everything here laid out in front of us. So we have water pump, thermostat housing, heater tap, radiator bushes, I suppose, radiator support, temperature sensor, fuel sensor, new fuel pump, we've got extra gaskets. I've already rebuilt the carb, so that's all been sorted as well. And on top of that, we've got some rocker cover gaskets. Now I've also got a sump gasket in here. I'm not gonna be able to do that until we have it off on the hoist, where we'll also do a brake bleed. Only other thing, really, is to clean up and assemble. Everything should be pretty good. We'll fill it with fresh fuel, hopefully get her started, and we will be laughing. So first off, I think, let's put on the new fuel pump. Most expensive car sold in Australia during its production years, the Landau. or Landau, I'm still not sure how to pronounce it. However, this one doesn't seem to be the shining beacon it once was, with trim pieces missing, paint cracks, dents, and a rusty leaky water pump, which last time we removed and cleaned up the sandwich plate which it bolts to, along with finding a myriad of other problems demanding our attention. But now we have all the parts we should need to get her back on the road, which I'm super keen for, since this one from Dad's collection is meant to ride like a cloud, an absolute cushion. Oh, yes, the cobber is back. We'll have to take it out for a spin, I reckon. Maybe we'll do a bit of an episode, give you a bit of a rundown of that, and where the livery comes from too, because I think that's quite interesting. Installed all the accessories, so the water pump, the power steering, air conditioner, and it was a bit of a fact because I didn't take great photos and I couldn't remember how all the pulleys and stuff, where they were positioned. And I'm not that familiar with this sort of setup, right? I'm used to a different setup that I've experienced in my Bronco and even on the P6 LTD, that was different because a lot of it had been fiddled with. Anyway, took me a while, I figured it out, I got everything there, put it all away. Stepped back and then realised I could have looked at the Cobra. The Cobra's got the exact same setup. That could have told me what everything is. What a stupid move. Anyway, on to the rest of it. With the front of the motor assembled, we can work on completing the coolant system with first installing a new thermostat and housing along with a temperature sensor, all of which was corroded and looked as if it needed to be replaced, which I've worded deliberately there. It looked. We ultimately don't know how this car will run, if it even does run. It was parked here in the shed in 2011 and hasn't been on the road since. As far as anyone can recall, it did run great, just it wasn't the gem of the collection and got forgotten. But now we're trying to change that, bring it back to the light, or at least out into the sunlight. As you see, we haven't been repainting or restoring any of the front of the engine, merely replacing, cleaning, and reassembling. And you've all seen the state of this Landau, so I guess it comes at no surprise that we aren't doing a full restoration. Just getting it running again, on the road once more to be enjoyed. Maybe one day we'll go the full 9 yards, rebuilding it from the ground up, which it mostly needs, but not today. For now, let's stop work on the coolant system and work on those leaky rocker covers. Oh, tripping over the light. That was. It's looking a bit crummy in there, not gonna lie. So, taking the rocker cover off on the driver's side, it is looking rough in there. Obviously it's been sitting for a while and you know, oil's not all throughout the motor as it once was, it's all drained into the sump. But this looks like a diesel. It's covered in soot. It is wild. I wonder if it hasn't had enough oil changes in its life. Yeah, kind of gross. So we'll try and give it a bit of a clean up. We'll have to be careful because I don't want all of this just to float into the bottom of the motor. So we'll do our best to try and clean up as much as we can and then, yeah, just try and swap it all out. Whilst pulling off the rocker cover as well, we've noticed that not only is it too full of garbage on the inside as well, which we'll try to clean up. It's black as all buggery. But the breather grommet, that's all buggered as well, so we'll replace that. It's nice now that we can replace it, that it's outside the motor, so it's not going to full into the motor, and we're going to have, because it caused issues. But for now, I might try and give this a bit of a degrease, a bit of a clean up. I might let it soak for a little bit too, actually, and see if we can't save it a little bit. A new day. Yesterday we finished off the passenger side rocker cover. That one wasn't quite as fun as the driver side because there's more crap in the way. But other than that, we're all looking pretty good. So all the rocker covers are sorted. That oil leak's hopefully sorted. Everything's nipped up there. The front of the motor's all back together, which is fantastic. So now really the next thing is to put on the carburetor and then put in the radiator, fill it with fluids. Ideally, I want to do an oil change on it before we start it, given what we saw underneath the rocker cover. So we might push it over to the hoist and give it an oil change first. And while we're up there, we'll give it a brake bleed, and then we should be pretty rosy. I might, we'll see how we do with the transmission, because it's leaking, but I don't have a sump gasket for it. So we might have to just leave that for now and just check the fluid. Other than that though, it's all looking really, really good, and it's coming back together really, really nicely. It's polishing up really, really good. As mentioned though, this, look, it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot more work done to it, which is fine. Like it's a long-term project sort of deal, and you know, there's plenty of other things, as you've seen in here, that need attention as well. I mean, just look at the XA. How many freaking times have we had to work on that and it's still not finished? So look, nothing out of the ordinary, but it'll be really good fun to get this on the road and start driving and just see what it feels like. This is meant to be the more cushy, more refined, more smooth, just a better driving GT type car with plenty of power, with the big V8 underneath it, light steering, just effortless driving is what it's meant to be in luxury, although the interior is pretty knackered. But let's put I reckon the carb back on, then we'll do radiator and then fill it with fluids, put the battery in, and hopefully we'll be able to start it pretty soon. I'm so keen. That's crazy. The coolant overflow bottle was still holding coolant. Those things never last. It's like the washer fluid bottles, they never last. So, it is looking good under here. We've got the radiator back in. It's all mounted up, the fan's on there. We've got new bushes holding it in. It's looking fantastic. We've got the carburetor in, all hooked up. Everything looks right. We may need to adjust the choke on it. I can't remember how I set that up. I can't remember if I did that properly. So we might need to adjust that when we get it started. It is all looking really good under here. The battery's in, we've got power in the car. It's looking fantastic. Now, the next step. is we do that. Unfortunately, yes again, I need more parts. A couple of things I've ordered incorrectly. The throttle cable, I got the wrong one. It's for a different Falcon, not for this Falcon. I also need a proper, I think it's a PCV valve grommet. It's a grommet in the driver's side rocker cover. On top of that, the radiator cap, it's pretty shoddy, so I'm gonna replace that while we're waiting for parts too. Other than that, that's pretty much everything we need. Next is just fluids and then seeing if it will run. But I'm pretty confident with everything else. So we'll leave it there. We'll come back, do an oil change, do a brake fluid flush, fill it with coolant, bleed the coolant system, put in the throttle cable and put that grommet in. And then all being well, we should be able to drive it. It is good. It is looking really, really good. Now we're just gonna play more of the waiting game. While we're in there, I'm butchering this today. While we're in there replacing oh, I forgot that this fan sucks. And then on top of that, what was the third thing? I'm blanking. Oh, throttle cable. Let's redo that. Let's redo the whole thing.